If you've ever wondered, am I attractive to beautiful women? Or, how do I become more attractive to them? Then you, like many men, have wondered about your true position in the sexual marketplace. Today's video is all about sexual marketplace value. And remember, to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of the latest videos. Let's begin. Sexual marketplace value, otherwise known as sexual market value or SMV for short, is an individual's mating value. It is the aggregate of all of a man's wealth, personal attributes and physical health indicators. In layman's terms, sexual market value is an individual's, whether man or woman, degree of attractiveness to the opposite sex, and it corresponds to one's own dating strength. Everyone wants a high SMV partner, but people's success in the sexual market is strongly related to their own sexual market value, which limits their ability to mate as they really want. Fortunately, your SMV is changeable. In fact, it is very changeable, and you can almost always increase it with focused effort, smart marketing, and good old-fashioned personal self-development. Most people have an innate understanding of their own SMV and normally seek mates that fall within a reasonably narrow range of their own SMV. In short-term dating, men typically broaden the reach of their mating efforts, especially by lowering standards. That's why men often have friends with benefits they don't want to be seen with in public. They're good for sex but not for long-term girlfriends. These men are fine with pursuing and meeting them in the short term, but they don't think they're good enough for the long term. For example, they have too low SMV for them. When it comes to approaching, focusing slightly above one's own SMV is a natural instinct which makes evolutionary sense. It increases the probability of obtaining a high SMV mate compared to one's own SMV while maintaining reasonably good odds. When it comes to falling in love, people seem to fall in love harder when they pair up with partners who have a higher SMV. Very often it is passion, in this situation, that helps to enhance his efforts to maintain the relationship. Each individual desires a partner with a higher SMV. However, since no one wants someone who is less valuable than they are, there is a clear propensity for each player to fit and mate with others who are roughly the same overall value as them, assortative mating. Indeed, an individual's SMV is the best indicator of the types of mates he will pair up with, particularly when it comes to long-term dating. As a result, the higher an individual's mate rating, the greater his dating ability. Obviously, appearance matters in casual encounters. But, if aesthetics are the equivalent of standing naked when you wake up in the morning, then the game as a whole, as well as the marketing of that kit, matters a lot. The game takes your simple kit and tries to optimize your presentation of yourself. The game is akin to marketing and sales. Everyone participates in the game. Conversation, personal style, nonverbal communication, bonding and vibration with others. They're all in. Mating intelligence, or what is commonly referred to as game in seduction circles, is also game. Short-term dating is better served by games, just as marketing and sales are best served by selling a product. After the sale, the inherent qualities of the commodity seem to come to the fore. As a result, a game centered on true self-development is the perfect way to improve one's own SMV in both the short and long term. Assume you want to settle down. And you'd ask yourself, are you an ancestral male? What do women desire? The short answer is pretty much everything. Women look at pretty much everything in the long run, and the more you have, the better. Women look at pretty much everything in the long run, and the more you have, the better. Sure, not all women can get anything because their dating power is limited by their own sexual market value, but the urge remains. However, if we were to make a more practical map, we would have a lot more traits and reduce the importance of each one. Once again, women consider the whole package included. Indeed, scientists who say that male genitalia just grew larger to show off to other males are pretty much deluded, living in their ivory towers. Long-term game also includes short-term promotion and sales, but it also broadens its focus to include long-term relationship management and attraction. Intelligence is part of both the game, aka learning and applying social and seductive skills, and the personality angle, making women feel comfortable, which often includes high emotional intelligence. Of course, all traits are linked in some way, and some even overlap. High-status men, for example, are thought to be more attractive, often taller. Likewise, vice versa. And it tends to be more unusual to have high status while having so little money. Game for women is the ability to make him horny, which is, of course, closely related to looks, but it often complements or compensates for looks, partially. Let us now look at how the female sexual market value works.
When it comes to long-term dating, men behave more like women, screen more thoroughly, and focus more on the whole package.
Of course, the opposite is also true. When women operate with a short-term mentality, they become more like men. When I hear a man say he wants a woman with a master's degree, I know he's not a match. Or, at the very least, he is no more, and he is looking to settle down. Age is an interesting topic here, particularly because there are a few common charts in red pill communities that only assess a female's sexual market value based on her age.
However, age is subjective, and it is more relevant for men who want children in monogamous relationships and in monogamous cultures with marriage institutions.
Men are not stuck with a woman for a lifetime in non-monogamous societies. So, as long as she's fertile, age isn't a big deal. Faithfulness, the most desired characteristic in a few scientific surveys, is also less important to very high-status men in polygynous cultures. Countless studies indicate that women value capital much more than men. Women have a universal preference for wealthy men. Women valued capital more than men in all societies, religions, and political systems, roughly 100% more. Despite the sexual revolution, women still put twice as much emphasis on financial opportunities as men do, though some self-proclaimed feminists say they place less importance on his financial status, or so they claim. Women pursue men with resources even though they have resources of their own. According to a study conducted among upper-class women in the United States, high-income women place an even higher importance on a partner with a high degree, educational status, and high income.
Long-term dating needs a lot of resources.
They can, however, be easily used for short-term dating and sex on the side. Thorstein Veblen pioneered the concept of conspicuous consumption. Men, according to Veblen, need to find a more secure way to advertise their wealth in multicultural urban communities of strangers. Conspicuous consumption, on the other hand, must be irresponsible in order to be effective in short-term dating. A Ferrari or a Lamborghini shouts conspicuous consumption, whereas a Porsche or a BMW do not.
VIP table, bottle service, and selling drinks to all the pretty girls is conspicuous consumption, whereas buying one drink for one girl is less conspicuous consumption and a more boring supplier.
Women prefer men who hold positions of power in society. High social status or a high-status career are just marginally less important to US women than financial prospects. However, the two frequently go hand in hand. According to evolutionary psychologists, women desire high social status because it is related to access to wealth. That, I believe, is one of the reasons, but there is another. As Harry Kissinger once said, strength is a powerful aphrodisiac. Women often place a high value on markers associated with high social status, such as professional degrees, education, and social power via commanding the respects of a group or tribe. Girls, on the other hand, consider a lack of education to be particularly unacceptable. While this may simply be a coincidence, men with high status and income seem to be conscious of their ability to attract more attractive women. As men's earnings rise, they pursue younger partners while also showing a stronger preference for women with facially feminine features. Women, when they have the ability to choose, prefer to neglect lower status men for long-term pairing and, in some cases, even ignore their presence if they are not desirable. Some personality traits are more significant for younger men because they hint at their future social position. Particularly important traits are ambition, industriousness, intelligence. According to the findings of a major survey conducted by Dr. David Buss, both men and women around the world admire kindness. According to Buss, this is because people depend on the kindness of others, but not on strangers' kindness, but on the kindness of their peers.
And a friend who is kind often promises to be there for you when we both hit a hard patch.
Kindness also increases the likelihood that a man will commit and provide for his family, making him a better father. This might be a good time to bring up the topic of jerks. According to the stereotype, women claim they want nice guys but secretly prefer jerks. Fortunately, there have been a few studies on the subject.
Female participants in a study by Urbaniak and Kilmans were given definitions of typical nice guys, in between guys, and typical jerks. The challenge for the participants was to choose the best men for other women to date, and then they were asked which men they would choose for themselves.
That nice guy turned out to be the man the majority of women chose for other women. When it came to selecting a man for themselves, some women displayed the stereotypical mentality of, a nice guy for you, a bad boy for me, but this was not the majority. The nice guy was always chosen by the vote.
In a related study using dating advertising, which simulated a more practical long-term dating scenario, it was still kind men who were chosen the most.
Or, more specifically, men who used keywords like, "I volunteer at a charity," or, "I enjoy helping others" as a courtship display. Younger women are more drawn to the picture of the rascal bad boy, while older women prefer the calm and mature kind.
The temporal frame, short-term versus long-term, is also significant, with the traditional bad boy providing the edginess and rebellion that so well overlaps with sexiness and gains short-term mating points. But the most critical characteristic we need to talk about here is confidence.
The allure of confidence is what makes bad boys so appealing. To be good, that nice guy must be optimistic, and at that stage, he is no longer that nice guy stereotype.
However, when it comes to a confident guy, the bad boy appeals to a smaller portion of the population while being unappealing to a much larger portion.
Intelligence and humor also both come into play for attractiveness for men. Intelligence is also more than just a characteristic that we select for, it is the meta trait that helps us to play the dating game. Take, for example, our great ape relatives, the chimps and bonobos.
They live in complex societies where reproductive success is often determined by social intelligence rather than brute power. And this is particularly true for humans. Conversations and a sense of humor are also good markers of intellectual abilities.
Controlling the frame of contact is an indication of both superiority and intellect.
Humor may also be used as a method for sexual selection and discrimination. As a result, when a woman says she likes a man because he makes her laugh, she is not exaggerating. Humor is an effective tool in sexual selection. The same is true for orgasms, as we shall see.
Women generally prefer men who can make them laugh, while men prefer women who laugh at their jokes. Now let's address conversation between men and women.
Women often complain that men stop talking during relationships.
This complaint lends support to the hypothesis that in humans, vocabulary, grammar, and intellect are used as courtship tools. Men flaunt them in order to obtain sexual access.
However, once sexual access is provided, men are no longer required to put up with the effort.
And we might argue that relationships in which men and women keep talking are just the kind of great relationships you want to have.
Next, let's address female preferences for male physical characteristics.
Females prefer the following physical characteristics to be attractive: height, symmetrical body and face, athleticism, toned muscles. And masculine characteristics such as a large jaw, jutting chin, beard, low voice, to a point, and a V-shaped torso. Some physical characteristics are intercultural and have few exceptions, such as women's preference for taller men, though even here I've seen a few exceptions.
Other characteristics, such as masculine features, are more cultural and exhibit more variation.
Younger women often prefer more feminine faces and bodies, as shown by the hordes of female fans that androgynous boy band singers amass all over the world. Some of these features have an upper limit as well. Consider voice, which is appealing when it is deep but only until a certain frequency is reached.
Surprisingly, men continue to be intimidated by more mannish men even after women are drawn to them, implying that lover strategy confers more SMV than the fighter strategy.
So where do you think you fit in terms of SMV at this point in your life? Leave a comment below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified of new videos. And be sure to check out the other videos and playlists on this channel. Thanks for watching.